The proof of work consensus mechanism uses a lot of energy. What's the response to that criticism of Bitcoin?
Yes, because it's worth it.
Okay.
The airplane uses a lot more energy than a kayak. When you're going to cross the Atlantic next time, what are you going to take? A kayak that is environmentally friendly according to this insane definition? Or are you going to take an airplane that consumes a lot of energy?
So the cost benefit analysis here, essentially you have to consider both the cost and the benefit.
Exactly. And I think it's an astonishing testament to just how far backward people's scientific and technological thinking has devolved to the point where we think of energy consumption as a bad thing. I think it's just, and in the Fiat standard, I discussed the whole hysteria around energy, and I think it's a product of Fiat inflation, because it's a way of trying to covering up the fact that energy fuels that are reliable and necessary for the current world are becoming more and more expensive because of inflation. And so governments are always looking for excuses for why you should not be using those things. And so they promote all kinds of stupid pseudosciences that tell you about why these things are bad. But really, all technology is, well, not all, but the vast majority of technological innovations involve economizing on human time and judgment and replacing it with machines, with reliable machines that spend a lot of energy. So that's what a telephone does. Instead of having to send somebody across the world to tell somebody something else or send a letter, the telephone allows you to do it. The car is like that. You could walk, but a car consumes a lot more energy, but it allows you to travel much faster and safer and more reliably. An airplane is like that. Modern telecommunication, human prosperity is an increase in the consumption of energy. And I think it is an absolutely criminal thing, and I genuinely mean the word criminal, to portray energy consumption as a bad thing, because it is truly depriving people of the chance to live a life that makes life better. It's truly criminal to tell poor countries that they should not consume the same energy sources that are being used in rich countries, that on which our modern infrastructure and modern life relies. That's what life is. If you reduce the consumption of energy in the US to the levels that you have in poor countries today, the US would become desperately poor. A lot of people would die. Cities would collapse.
Yeah, the quality of life would decrease significantly. A high quality of life often requires, given the current technology, a high expenditure of energy.
Yeah, and I should be clear, it's not a quality of life in the sense that many people think of this as, oh yeah, well, taking needless flights for vacations. No, these are the cherries on top of the cake. But the substance of the cake and the real benefits of energy is the fact that premature babies survive in countries that have reliable 24-hour cheap electricity. If your child is born premature, that you put him in an incubator or her, they're highly likely to survive. If you don't have 24-hour electricity, that child is not going to make it. And you see it, the level of energy consumption per capita is highly correlated, not just to income, but also to health outcomes, to infant mortality, to all of the things that you care about. And Bitcoin is just another technology. It does consume a lot more energy than central banks. A lot of Bitcoiners like to taken a cop out of this by saying, well, central banks consume money and ATMs consume energy. And I think if you calculate how much central banks and banks consume, I think it's a rounding error next to what Bitcoin consumes. I think Bitcoin is just maybe not a rounding error, but it's still, Bitcoin is, I think, is going to consume a lot more. And that's a good thing.
What's humbling is to look, because even just looking into this forces me to look at the energy expenditures for many of the things we take for granted. Obviously, computers and our digital lives, Bitcoin becomes a rounding error relative to how much energy is spent on all the computers in our world. But also, like things like home appliances, microwaves, and hair dryers and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, this starts being hilarious. It's like, oh, these things that are just part of our modern life, they're either the same order, at least the same order of magnitude as Bitcoin, and they seem like trivial parts of life.
Yeah, and this is the thing. All of the people that complain about Bitcoin's energy consumption, I presume they use washing machines. Now, why should their desire for clean and dry clothes to get to consume energy? And I mean, I used to live in Lebanon. Lebanon had hyperinflation. I escaped from hyperinflation. It prevented my life could have been ruined by hyperinflation. And the reason that it wasn't ruined is because I have Bitcoin. So I don't know. Am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
Yes, please.
So fuck your washing machine. Given a choice between my washing machine and my Bitcoin, I'll choose Bitcoin. It's a technology that has already saved my life, and I think it's going to save the lives of many, 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 many more people. So, but of course, I don't have to choose between my Bitcoin and my washing machine, because this is, we're just constantly consuming more energy, and we're going to continue to consume more energy in this world. And that's just what progress is. And a small remark. So in principle, I don't think this is a problem. But the other thing about Bitcoin, where it is different from washing machines, Bitcoin is truly unique in this. It's the only thing whose energy consumption can be produced absolutely anywhere. Your washing machine needs to be in your house where you live, and you live in a city surrounded by 10 million people, and they all have their washing machines, and they're all connected to the grid, and they generally tend to do their laundry around the same time. And so you have to put the load of the washing machine on the grid at the same time. There needs to be one power plant, and all of the infrastructure needs to work at the same time. And the electricity is pretty expensive because it's being done in a place with high demand. Bitcoin does not need to buy electricity from places where it has high demand, because it can buy electricity from anywhere. This is what's truly mind-blowing about it. You can buy, what you need the electricity that you need for mining can be done anywhere. So you can mine, you can have a waterfall in the north of Canada, 300 miles away from any population center. There's water falling, there's energy. You can put a hydroelectric dam there, and then you can use that energy to operate the miners. And then the miners just need a satellite internet connection. And effectively, you're selling that energy that is isolated to the grid. And because of the way that Bitcoin functions, because of the difficulty adjustment, the only profitable miners are the ones who can get cheap electricity. Basically, if you're mining at grid cost, if you're mining at around, the average electricity price in the world is around 14 cents. If you're mining at 14 cents in Bitcoin, you're most likely not going to make it. If you're running your miners at 14 cents, because everybody could mine at 14 cents. And so what happens is, if everybody's mining at 14 cents, 14 cents stops being profitable. And then only the people mining at a lower price are profitable. So that's why Bitcoin mining is not competing with your washing machine. And this is the absurd thing about this kind of energy scarcity viewpoint, where, oh no, it's a catastrophe, Bitcoin is taking all the electricity, as if the electricity is just one fixed pie that we all have to share and fight over. And this is how I keep making fun of these stupid headlines they put out, where Bitcoin's consuming more electricity than Portugal. All right, well, maybe we should shut down Portugal then. What the hell has Portugal given us? Obviously it's not
now,
competing.
He doesn't mean that. I've gotten so much criticism for saying Cristiano Ronaldo is not in the top 5. I apologize. I love Portugal.
That's another discussion we should get into at some point.
We should do, because you posted a few soccer things. I'm not.
Yeah.
I realize how passionate people are about this. Listen, it was a joke. All right, he deserves to be potentially in the top 5.
Yeah, I love Portugal. And even though I'm a Liverpool fan, I still respect Cristiano Ronaldo a lot. In fact, I hold a very unpopular opinion where I think Cristiano Ronaldo is the greatest football player ever.
Number 1 over
Ever.
Pele, Maradona, Messi, better than Messi.
Yes, he's been doing it for 20 years at the top. Nobody's ever done that. He's won everything everywhere he goes, at the top, at the Champions League. Really strong argument to be made for him. And Messi's never done anything outside of Barcelona. That's the thing.
So you appreciate performance long term versus the genius of the actual play on the field.
I mean, the genius is Ronaldo's the top scorer of all time.
So the genius is in the scoring, not the actual dance of the play, the creativity.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Messi's been absolutely mediocre since he's left Barcelona.
These are strong words.
He scored, 2 goals in PSG's season this year? They're out of the Champions League.
What about Mohamed Salah? You posted about him.
He's my boy.
Is he climbing up to be somewhere
I think he should win the Ballon d'Or this year. He probably should have won it last year as well. He's been absolutely outstanding. But I mean, just people are so crazy about Messi. They keep giving him accolades. He hasn't deserved, I think, Messi the last couple of Ballon d'Ors that he got. I mean, he's a great player and everything, but no, he did not deserve it last year.
We can agree to disagree. There's something.
You're a Barca fan or a Messi fan?
I would say no. I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm a Barca fan, but a Barca fan because of Messi. And
Okay.
I think it's like there's certain things. Um, so when I was growing up in the Soviet Union, Russia, I remember Maradona. He was the first person I saw that I was like, oh wow, this could be. This is greatness in sport, not just football and sport, right? And for some reason, I mean, it's something about like Diego Armando Maradona, like the way they were commentating the genius of his play, the mix of ego, and again the performance, but being able to carry a team on his shoulders. That I just fell in love with whatever he represented, and then by that Argentina. And then Messi, I saw when he was like 16, 17, when he was just like right in the early days. And when you first see a person and you see the genius and you notice that, and then it turns out to be actually a great player, for some reason you're invested. You're emotionally invested. You're I don't know. So you kind of just fall in love, and then you pick sides. I mean that's the thing about football. Part of the fun things about football, soccer is like you pick a guy, you pick a team, and fuck everyone else, and you just have fun talking shit. I
I
mean,
know.
there's part of it, that
It's great. It's great because I think, obviously it's a very stupid thing to do, but I think if you don't do it in football, you're going to do it in real life.
elsewhere. That's right.
And that's why it's very good. Like that's it. Instead of hating people for their religion and for their skin color, hate them because they support Manchester United.
Exactly. So you're a Liverpool fan. That's
Yes, yes, hardcore, long term. Uh, but yeah, so to go back to the original point on Portugal,
energy.
energy. Bitcoin is not competing with Portugal because Bitcoin is buying energy from places where we can't buy it. Because all the places where we can buy energy for our washing machines, we're bidding up the price enough to make it non-viable for Bitcoin. That's why you'll see those headlines about Bitcoin consuming more energy than Portugal. Well, if you look at Portugal, I mean, they've got giant power plants in Portugal. They've got millions of people and they've got enormous amounts of infrastructure. Where are all of these infrastructure for Bitcoin mining? You don't see it in the cities. It's all isolated. It's all out away from the cities, or it's connected to grids that have serious overcapacity. So Bitcoin is not out there buying the expensive energy, taking energy away from people who can't afford it. It's out there buying its own energy because it doesn't need to buy the expensive energy that people really need.